Opinions expressed on this radio program do not necessarily reflect the views of this radio station.
Todd never sugarcoats it. Does he tell it straight? You bet. Does he deliver with a sense of humor? Always.
I always start my Sunday mornings off listening to the Todd L. Levitt Law Show. It has tons of information, and he has such a great sense of humor.
My friends and I always tune in to the Todd L. Levitt Law Show.
Hold on tight. Don't let go. It's time for the Todd L. Levitt Law Show.
My body started shaking and I can't take no more. I just want to get close to you and taste your love so sweet. And I just want to make love to you. Feel your body in the still of the night.
Welcome to the Todd L. Levitt Marijuana Law Podcast. Good morning, good evening, and good night. I'm yours truly, attorney Todd L. Levitt, broadcasting and podcasting in the middle of the mitten, pure Michigan, baby, in a beautiful green nutrient field, a legal green nutrient field with my good friend Craig Russell, the Muscle. Craig, Happy New Year to you, my man.
Happy 2019. It's going to be a fantastic year. It's already been a fantastic year. 2018 was a great year. 2019, can't wait to get it started.
I actually celebrate Australian New Year's. So by the time the ball drops Eastern Standard Time, I'm already, one barrel over the cuckoo's nest. I'm tapped out at that point. There's nothing else I need to do by midnight when the ball drops. And I'm always thinking, what's the big hoopla about? I mean, California still has 3 hours to go. I mean, Australia, I watch Australian TV on satellite, and there, if it was 5 o'clock in Eastern Standard Time, it's 9 o'clock in the morning in some parts of Australia. So, why wait when you can celebrate early?
Going to have a couple of Fosters, hang out with a koala bear and a kangaroo, and say crikey all over the place. That's what your New Year's Eve is looking like already.
I'll tell you one thing I'm not going to do on New Year's Eve this year.
What's that?
I'm not going to make the same mistake I did Christmas Day, whereby my good friend Scott Zenneberg, one of my close friends, I call him Z, I sent him a Merry Christmas with an emoji. And it wasn't until 2 hours later, after I got done shredding on my fat bike at Deerfield, that I noticed that I sent him a kiss. I blew him an emoji blowing a kiss. And so for 2 hours, my close friend Scotty Zenneberg, for whatever reason, thought I sent him a kiss. And then I said, oops, and I sent him, the little emoji with the sunglasses. That's my emoji. That's my MO. And, but yeah, you got to be careful when you send emojis. It's like texting the wrong person and pocket calling somebody. But to send a kiss, that I don't know. I haven't gotten over that yet.
They're kind of close. The Santa Claus one and the kiss one are kind of close to each other. So, if you got a big fat thumb like me, you never know which one you're actually going to get. But I'm sure that was an interesting conversation around his house when he was looking at going,
I love Z. But Happy New Year to everybody.
What is Todd saying? What is Todd saying to me? I don't know what Todd's saying to me.
We have a huge show for the listeners today. We're going to be talking about what, Craig Russell?
The top 5 weed stories of 2018.
And we got a special guest coming on the show. Chris Nani's back on the show. Chris was with us. Love Chris. What a huge response. Chris from CannaRev Solutions. Chris is a third-year law student at Ohio State. Him and his partner, they founded CannaRevSolutions.com. Check it out, everybody. It's just an amazing company. So, Chris is coming on the show. We had Quentin Q-Man from EasyRoots.com on last week. Great response to that. Little John loves the show. Big shout out to Little John. Also, I was at the grocery store the other day, by the way.
Okay.
And behind me was Lisa and Mick Maloney, great folks from Lake Michigan. Lisa and Mick Maloney. He plays bagpipes, and big shout out to those folks. Really good folks there.
We should get them on the show sometime, playing bagpipes.
I would love
That'd
to have them
awesome.
come on the show. Yeah,
Maybe our St. Patrick's
absolutely.
Day show will have them on. That would be great.
Yeah, we'd have Mick Maloney on the show playing bagpipes. That would be awesome. I would love that.
Celebrating your Irish heritage.
My 3% Irish heritage.
That's right.
We're also gonna be talking about Canna Tourism. Canna Tourism is huge. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry waiting to happen. So definitely want to talk to Chris about Canna Tourism in those states where cannabis is now recreational, Craig.
Including Michigan. And tourism is one of the biggest things in Michigan to begin with. So you put cannabis and tourism together, two great tastes that taste great together. What was that? Peanut butter and chocolate, that combination? But I think that's going to be a great thing for the state of Michigan. That's probably one of those untapped things that nobody thought about when they were voting for Prop 1 a couple of months ago. Nobody thought, hey, maybe this will help the tourism in the state of Michigan.
Canna
as well.
Tourism. Yeah, there's wine and weed tours in California. I mean, we talked about that last year, wine and weed tours. So that's kind of cool. And if Michigan, once these breweries that have popped up everywhere start to produce cannabis-infused drinks, their profitability will soar through the roof. Hey, Craig, also, I want to remind the listeners to be sure to check out 420 Canna Expo. I'm honored to be
That's right.
a co-host of the 420 Canna Expo taking place on 420 at the Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort, located right here in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. The amazing men and women who oversee the casino, the water park, and all the facilities out there have graciously allowed us to put on this massive Canna Expo. The website is up. It's 420cannaexpo.com. Check it out, 420cannaexpo.com. It's free to the public. We're going to have vendors and exhibitors from every facet of the cannabis industry, from growers to glass makers, attorneys, accountants, bankers, you name it, they will be there. So if you're interested in attending or you want to be a sponsor and exhibitor, check out 420cannaexpo.com. And I'm honored to be co-hosting this event here in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. So you'll be hearing a lot more about that because 420 is right around the corner, Craig Russell.
Hosting it with mycompassion.org, the good folks there.
Heidi,
everybody there. Plus, on top of it, you forgot to mention one of the vendors who will be there. How about cannabis legal representation? That'd be you. You're going to be a vendor there, too. So.
No, I'm going to be the host, but our show will be there.
Yes, the show will be the host.
The show will be there.
Yes,
the show is
exactly.
going to be broadcasting from the event. So
That's
you'll be able to, and it's free. So it's going to be a great time, Craig. I'm looking forward to all day with you. And at nighttime, there's some country music performers that will be performing, not for us, but at the casino. They got great concert facilities there. So check out the Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort, 420cannaexpo.com, 420cannaexpo.com. Hey, Craig, on the way in, you pointed into the mothership here, you pointed something out to me, and I'm still annoyed by it.
What's that?
Well, you mentioned that I didn't tie my shoes.
Well, you do that all the time. You walk around.
Well, they're actually
with
boots. They're actually boots. I have some boots on right now.
You do that all the time. You walk around without them untied. It bugs the hell out of me.
Craig, first off, I would rather hop on a fat bike and bike 20 miles in fog and snow than have to bend down to tie my shoe. It's like spilling something. When you spill something, you have no choice but to wipe it and clean it up. And it's almost slow motion when something spills. When you have a shoe untied or a boot untied, obviously it's very dangerous to walk around. Someone's going to step on it. You get it stuck in equipment or elevators or whatnot. So you definitely want to keep your shoes tied. But that annoys me so much to have to bend down and tie a lace when I finally realize that it needs to be tied. And I would rather walk around all day and have people just ask me or tell me, hey, your shoe's untied.
Hey, have you ever heard the term first world problems?
I'm being totally serious with you.
I know you are.
One of the most annoying things if you look down and see you got to tie a lace. I'm just saying.
Oh my God, you've got to bend. You're riding a fat bike 20 miles in the snow and the fog, but actually having to bend over to tie a shoe or a boot for 20 seconds is putting you out. Never mind what you could be doing on that fat bike. You could be running into a tree, all the energy you're exerting doing that, but the little bit of energy to bend over and tie your shoe. I'll never understand you, Todd. I love it. Never.
Hey, we have to go to break. Is
Yes.
that right?
Yes, we do.
But the good folks at the post office in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, and Sherry over there and everybody, they want me to inform everyone that stamps are going up 5 cents starting January 27th. And, that doesn't bother me, and I'll tell you why. Those men and women at the post office, they work their tails off.
It's true. It's true.
Literally work their tails off. And who cares if it's going up 5 cents? I'll spend $5, $20, $30. I'll spend $1, $2 every day on nothing. So I can't, continue to support the men and women at the post office. I have no problem paying 5 cents more. Hey, Craig, when we come back from break, we have a lot of cannabis law to get to. We got Chris Nani coming on the show. Take us out and bring us back, my brother. This is attorney Todd L. Levitt with an important message.
What's that, Todd?
Craig, mark your calendar. April 20th, 2019, the nation's premier event for everything cannabis and hemp is descending on the Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort located right here in Mount Pleasant, Michigan.
What's that, Todd?
420 Canna Expo will feature the industry's most knowledgeable professionals from cultivation, medical, recreational, research, staffing, Canna Tourism, smoke shops, grow shops, merchandisers, glass makers, and more. Every facet of the industry will be represented on April 20th, 2019 at the Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. For more information on attending, sponsorship, and exhibitor space, log on to 420cannaexpo.com. That's 420cannaexpo.com. And stay tuned to our podcast for more information.
My body started shaking and I can't take no more. Taste your love so sweet, and I just wanna make love to you. Feel your body heat in the still of the night.
Welcome back to the Todd L. Levitt Law Show, broadcasting and podcasting with the new year 2019 upon us in the beautiful green nutrient field, coming back strong with White Snake in the still of the night. Craig, I love White Snake. I never get tired of that.
David Coverdale, pound for pound, one of the best hard rock singers ever. Not even lie.
My buddy Brent Hunt. Big shout out to Brent Hunt. He's a big White Snake fan. So that goes out to Brent Hunt, my man. And Brent is such a cool dude. He literally is a state licensed wild mushroom expert. I didn't know you could become a state licensed wild mushroom expert, but that's what my buddy Brent is. So Great guy. Hey, Craig,
Todd.
we have a lot to get to. Chris Nani's coming up in the show. I want to talk to the listeners about Canna Tourism for a moment.
Okay. Before we do that, though, I have to congratulate you on making it into the Polar Roll. The Polar Roll.
What is the Polar Roll?
What is that?
It's a winter fat bike race, and big shout out to Todd Poquette. Todd Poquette is the mastermind and the brains behind 906 Adventure Team up in Marquette, Michigan. Todd and Danny oversee the Margie Giesick, the Polar Roll. Now they have some crazy event that goes from Marquette. No, actually goes from Copper Harbor back to Marquette. So thank you, Todd. I love you, bro. You bumped me in. I signed up late, but my boy Todd from 906 Adventure Team, check it out online, got me into Polar Roll.
Took care of you, got you in the Polar Roll.
I'll be shredding the backcountry woods of Marquette to Ishpeming, Negaunee, and back come sometime in the new year, baby.
Now, do
With
they
my
have
good buddy Vinny Cade and Dave Cade? Big shout out to Vinny and Dave Cade. Let's talk Canna Tourism.
Well, before we do that, do they have snow up there? Because we don't really. It's kind of green.
They have
here. It's
3
been
feet of
warm
snow
and
up there.
stuff. Do they
There's
really?
the big snowstorm just went through the Upper Peninsula of the great state of Superior and dumped a whole lot of snow up there.
Well, we haven't got any of it. What the hell?
Hey, listen, it's coming. It's coming.
I know. There's no way we're going to get away without it. But anyway, Canna Tourism. Let's talk about that.
Canna Tourism is, in my opinion, one of the biggest untapped markets out there in those states where cannabis is now recreational. I would highly recommend, though, so what are we talking about Canna Tourism? In California, they have wine and weed tours. In Colorado, they have, buses that have the windows blacked out, and they take you from one dispensary, different locations, different private locations where you can consume cannabis. There's also, in some states, certain communities have passed ordinances that will allow some of these Canna Tourism businesses to bring their clientele, and they can actually smoke in public. So just because, like, for instance, the state of Michigan says you cannot smoke in public, albeit if there's a local community that passes an ordinance and allows you to do so, then you'll be able to do so. Now, Canna Tourism, it covers the gamut from A to Z of anything you can think about in regards to tourism. The only thing I would caution is you have to follow the laws in your state. For example, in Michigan, you cannot advertise the sale of marijuana products. You cannot advertise that. So if you're 21 and over, under the new law, you can't advertise it. Like, come stay at our resort, and for this price, we're going to provide you with this much marijuana. For this price, we're going to provide you with canoes. You can advertise the canoes, but you can't advertise the sale. You cannot sell the marijuana unless you have a license to do so through the state of Michigan.
Now,
so there's a lot of loopholes.
Can they sell themselves as being, say, 420 friendly? Can they be generic about it? Not actually selling the product, but can they allude to the fact that you're allowed to smoke in on their premises?
If you're a private owner of a hotel or a house or private property, and you want to have guests on your property and allow them to participate in what the state now considers legal, then you have every right to do so. As far as advertising, again, you need to look up Leafly.com has a great article on the different states and what can be advertised and what cannot be advertised. Check out Leafly.com, folks, or HighTimes.com. There's a lot of great information out there on that. I mean, as far as Canna Tourism, as a defense attorney, I'm very cautious to say too much because a lot of the laws and rules and regulations are still being put forth in place. So just give it time. Give it time to evolve.
Let things organically happen as you will, because it's going to be a big
absolutely.
deal. It's going to be.
But look into it.
Yeah,
huge.
It's going to be a
huge.
big deal. This is one of those things that when they just, because they talk about, the money we're going to collect in taxes on cannabis and this, that, and the other. But that was probably not one of the things anybody thought of was going to be the tourism aspect, especially considering when you go across the border into Canada, that cannabis is legal there. When you go to Ohio,
but you can't
Indiana,
transport it.
No.
Do not transport between states or countries, folks.
No, but if you are in Ohio or Indiana or Illinois or Wisconsin, states that all border Michigan, where cannabis is either partially legal or not legal at all, you can draw people in from those states to legally purchase cannabis in Michigan and enjoy it here. I mean, that is money that's going to be coming into the coffers of the state of Michigan, and people didn't think about any of that when they passed these laws, and nobody's thinking about that kind of stuff. And the next year or so, all of a sudden, we're going to go, hey, not only did they collect $500 million in taxes, but they also $350 million came into our local economy from people coming to the area to do this Canna Tourism. I think it's a win-win for everybody. I don't think anybody realized that.
And the other thing I would say is, we get emails and messages from listeners from all over the great United States. We have listeners all over Europe, all over the world that listen on podcasts, which we really appreciate. But in the states and countries where cannabis is now coming to the legal market, the thing I tell people I communicate with is just be patient. Be patient. At first, prices are going to be high at first. I mean, in some cases, in some states that first become recreational, prices are just outrageous. It's nuts how high they are because the demand, when, for instance, in the state of Michigan, as is with each and every other state, there's only a limited amount of dispensaries that are open and are licensed, and those in Michigan are only medical for the next year or two. But once that passes, the supply is still going to be limited because the stores are obtaining their licensing. Their growers need time to grow. They need time to process, need time to get to the testing facilities. So in Michigan, for instance, for those of you listening all over the world, if you're a grower, you have to take your product and have it transported to a testing facility before it goes to the dispensary. So, folks, just be patient out there. And a lot of consumers, are going to stick to their homegrown products. They're going to, share product with each other legally. So the key is also you want the licensing to go through in your respective state because you want the testing facilities to get licensed so that the product, once it hits the market, is clean and testable and reliable. So you don't want to be consuming bad product out there. Just because somebody says, hey, I got a CBD product, buy this product, and they make you all these promises, you don't know how they make that product. So you definitely want it clean and tested and reliable. That's really important.
Yes, it is. Very much so. Hey, we were going to talk about the top 5 weed stories of the year. Of course, cannabis has become a big
what do you
deal.
got?
Well, we're going to start off with number 5, and number 5 leads right into a little kind of mixture of this Canna Tourism things and stuff like that. If you were in California this holiday season, you know what the biggest Christmas present people got under their trees were in California?
I have no idea.
Legal cannabis. I know it's hard to believe.
I could have answered that. I just wanted to play along with it.
Yeah, I know you could have. But the dispensaries were finding 5 times. They sold 5 times as much product in the month of December in California than they did all year long. They had lines out the door when these dispensaries would open up at 9 o'clock because people were buying and giving legal cannabis as Christmas presents. And that leads us to the number 5, top 5 story of the year. Cannabis, as of January 1st, they had made it legal in California in 2016, but as of January 1st, they started selling the product, which is probably about the range we're going to have in Michigan, but they started selling legal cannabis in dispensaries, state-owned cannabis in the beginning of 2018. So that is the number 5 top 5 weed story of the year. Is cannabis legal in the biggest state in the country? So
give me another one, Craig.
You want another one? You want to know?
You bring it on, baby. It's New Year.
You don't think I got it? So the number 4 story has to do with the whole LARA licensing and medical reclassification of cannabis in Michigan because, as we got to about the middle part of the year, all of a sudden all these licenses started getting pulled in and they started reclassifying everything and getting everything ready because they knew we were going to become a recreational state. So that's the number 4 top 5 weed story. We'll get to the other 3 as we go on. You can probably figure them out. They're pretty big ones, all things considered. But we need to take a break. We got to get to Chris Nani from CannaRev Solutions. He's going to be on in segment 3 of the show, talking about things going on with CannaRev Solutions. And also, what did he have to talk about? He had something else he was going to talk about.
He's going to talk about what's going on in the great country of Spain. We love Spain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right on. Bullfighting extraordinaire is going on in Spain. So we have to take a break on the Todd L. Levitt Law Show. We'll be right back.
This is attorney Todd L. Levitt with an important message.
What's that, Todd?
Craig, mark your calendar. April 20th, 2019, the nation's premier event for everything cannabis and hemp is descending on the Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort located right here in Mount Pleasant, Michigan.
What's that, Todd?
420 Canna Expo will feature the industry's most knowledgeable professionals from cultivation, medical, recreational, research, staffing, Canna Tourism, smoke shops, grow shops, merchandisers, glassmakers, and more. Every facet of the industry will be represented on April 20th, 2019 at the Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. For more information on attending, sponsorship, and exhibitor space, log on to 420cannaexpo.com. That's 420cannaexpo.com. And stay tuned to our podcast for more information.
Instead of the night, I hear the wolf owl honey sniffing around your door. Instead of the night, I feel my heart beating heavy, telling me you gotta have more. In the shadow of night, I chicken and I can't take no more. Taste your love so sweet, and I just wanna make love to you, feel your body heat in the still of the night.
Welcome back to the Todd L. Levitt Law Show. Happy New Year's to everyone out there listening from all over planet Earth. As I said in the first segment, I'm celebrating the new year with our good friends from down under, New Zealand, Australia, and all the surrounding countries. So I'll be celebrating New Year's a little earlier this year. So when the ball drops, I'll be 10 sheets to the wind by that time.
Or 6 or 7 Fosters in or whatever it will be.
Yeah. I'll have kangaroos flying around.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be flying around. We have a special guest on the show for segment 3. This would be Chris Nani from CannaRev Solutions. Hey, Chris.
Thanks, guys. It's a pleasure to be back on here.
Chris, the response having you on the show was 2-3 weeks back was just enormous. I mean, you're just an outstanding young man. You attend Ohio State University Law School. You're the co-founder with Greg May of CannaRevSolutions.com. Chris, I'm stoked you're back. Happy New Year. How's your Christmas?
Yeah, Happy New Year too. It was great. I came down to Georgia for it. I got to see some family, and we got to open up some presents together.
Is that where you are right now? You're in deep in the heart of Georgia?
Yeah, I am deep in the heart of Georgia. I'm north of it. I'm in the mountains.
Oh, okay. Bet it's pretty this time of year.
Yeah, it's great. You know, it's around 40.
How's the single track down there?
The single track.
Yeah, I'm a shredder, the single track, so I can bring down my carbon fibers salsa spearfish.
I don't think he's a bike rider, man. I don't think he knows what that is.
No, that one went over my head.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Oh,
hey,
man.
Tell us a little bit about CannaRev Solutions.
Sure. So CannaRev Solutions, it's a consulting company for the cannabis space. We're centered in the Midwest, in Ohio to be exact, but we help businesses across the nation. Recently, we just helped this one investor in Illinois. They were just kind of looking at land, doing some research, kind of what's going on over there with their laws and regulations. So really, we do everything from licensing and applications to doing some background research for you, just including, what can and can't you do in a state.
Hey, so Chris, we found we had a big spike in downloads of people in Spain checking out the show, and we think it has something to do with you. But what's going on cannabis-wise in that part of the world?
Sure. So I'm not sure if it was me that got the Spain. Maybe Spanish people were interested in the show.
No, it was. It was totally all you. They love you in Spain.
That'd be nice. Well, maybe my last name. There's a football player over there. His last name's Nani. I know he plays.
Oh well, okay.
A little tidbit. So maybe there's some confusion there.
And it was all good.
Good confusion. So Spain, they're a medical state or country, and right now you're allowed to home grow. You can have private consumption, but there's no sales of it. So what a lot of people have been doing lately is they've been making private clubs. As long as the public can't see it, you can smoke inside. You can do whatever you want. Although tourists aren't allowed in. Most of these clubs keep it just to the locals.
That's very interesting, and it seems like the trend is growing in places. I saw Bill de Blasio saying that possibly in New York, cannabis is going to be recreationally legalized in the next year or two. It seems like more places. Obviously, Illinois is a medical state, so is Missouri. California is booming. The places where they're seeing where it is recreational, it's booming. What do you think? Do you think that trend is going to continue? Do you think we're going to see any more in 2019?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think this is just kind of a giant domino effect, starting with the 2018 Farm Bill. New York's definitely going to be full adult use. And then Illinois' governor-elect just said in a press release that one of his first priorities will be to pass legislation for full adult use. So it's really looking good for those two states.
And I'll tell you this much. We're doing the top 5 weed stories of 2018. Number 5 was actually being sold legally in California for the first time, cannabis at the beginning of the year. Number 4 was some of the regulatory things going on in Michigan now that cannabis is recreation. The number 3 story has to do with legalization in Canada. That was what Justin Thoreau ran on a couple of years ago, and that came to fruition this past fall. Legalization in Canada. You want to talk about the dominoes falling. There's not many countries in the whole world that have the whole country legalized, but Canada is one of them.
You know what else Canada has, guys?
What's that?
Crank the Shield. Canada.
What is that?
I don't know. We're talking with Chris Nani from CannaRev Solutions.
Yeah.
It made me think of Crank the Shield. We're talking about Canada. It's one of my favorite mountain bike races. It takes place in August.
God.
It's a 3-day event. Crank the Shield. I'm gonna team up with all my boys from the Sioux Canada side, and we're gonna crank the Shield. We're gonna take the train all the way up and bike all the way down. All right, that's it. I deviated there.
We're having this high-powered discussion about cannabis in the world, and you bring up Crank the Shield, whatever that is.
Because whenever you talk about Canada, I want to get up there and do some fishing and some, they got great fishing in Canada. Forget the cannabis. Canada's just a great country. But
that's true.
Yeah, there's just nice everywhere.
Love Canada.
Have you been to Canada before, Chris?
I've been canoeing up there,
Okay.
surprisingly. I went through the Great Lakes, and what I did see was great.
Canada is a beautiful country, and of course, it is a beautiful, green, nutrient-filled country.
And for those listening around the world and across this country, Michigan, where we are based in, is a border state. I mean, Canada is our neighbor to the north, so we love Canada. I grew up going to Canada when I was like 14 years old. So, hey, can I say I had a fake ID? I think the statute of limitations has told, hasn't it?
Yeah, you've talked about this before.
Chris, you're going to be a lawyer. You'll defend me. And by the way, I'm in my 50s now. I think the statute has told.
Probably.
But, one of the things we were talking about, Chris, is that Canna Tourism is going to be massive. It's $1 billion industry in those states where it's going recreational, such as Michigan, California, and all the other states, and those that are about to become recreational. Canna Tourism.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be one of the biggest things, especially with the CBD industry about to blow up too. It's just going to expand for more people to get involved. You kind of look at the elderly population, and they're kind of the highest people that are going into the CBD side of things because they don't want the psychotropic effects of smoking cannabis.
And, of course, they're the people that have got the money to be able to travel, and they're the ones who've got the time to be able to travel. So,
Chris, I mean, you're going to be taking the bar here soon. You're going to be a licensed attorney, correct?
Yes. Not sure which state, but I will be taking the bar this summer.
And you attend Ohio State University Law School?
Yes.
Third-year student?
Yes. Yeah.
I know all this. I'm just letting the listeners know who we're talking to here, so...
yeah, no worries.
And one of the big questions I receive as an attorney or have in recent weeks is some of these farmers or people that live near big farms are concerned about, the smell of farmed cannabis. I mean, are they going to be smelling the product as it's being produced? And that's a fair question.
I'd agree that is, but I mean, the states that I've worked in, there's been a lot of regulations to help prevent that. Just because no one wants a nuisance. If you remember your tort law, that's definitely one of the claims you can have against someone. I've seen a lot of regulations requiring, large grow sites to be enclosed just so the smell can be contained or some way to divert it from neighboring areas. So hopefully that won't be as big a concern as we think it is. Yeah,
there was a case out of Colorado where they're neighbors of a cannabis farm. There was a big lawsuit and the cannabis farmer won. The thing, I live out in the country. I live out in the sticks, and I when the wind blows from the west, I get a fresh scent of cow manure. We got big pig farms.
Yeah.
Some states there's lavender fields. And I got to be honest with you. I know this sounds disgusting. I don't have a problem with the wind blowing and the smell of those farms. I know those farmers are working hard to support everyone in this country. And the same thing with the cannabis farmers. I mean, I think the problem is that the smell of cannabis, it's always been associated with, something negative that was illegal. And I think that's where the problem's going to come in. Not necessarily the smell itself, but the fact that it's been illegal for decades and decades as people have grown up. But if you live anywhere near farms as I do, let me tell you something. When that wind blows, you would think you're right in a manure field at times. So, and I don't complain about it. So I'm asking everybody out there to, give it a chance, folks. Give it a chance. take a whiff, enjoy the afternoon, and do some celebrating with Australia 12 hours before the ball drops in New York. That's all I got to say.
I'm guessing, Chris, you don't have a whole lot of farms where you are in Georgia. You probably don't. That's probably would be a new occurrence to you, is smelling the big manure thing going on, right?
Well, he's in Columbus, Ohio. It smells all the time, right, Chris? Hail to the victor.
We'll never have him. He will never be back on the show again.
Yeah, correct me if I'm mistaken. I think Ohio State's won the last 13 years or something.
Oh, man.
So.
I know, that's true.
He is never coming back on the show again now. Thanks, Todd. Good job.
Go Blue,
That's all right,
baby.
Craig. We can make our own show.
That's right. Screw you, Todd.
Good night, everybody. I'm out of here. I'm taking my nutrient field, and I'm out of here.
Chris Nani from CannaRev Solutions. You got time to stick around for the last segment of the show?
Yeah, I'd love to.
All right, we've got to go through the top 2 weed stories of 2018 as we're celebrating 2019 on the Todd L. Levitt Law Show. We'll be right back.
This is attorney Todd L. Levitt with an important message.
What's that, Todd?
Craig, mark your calendar. April 20th, 2019, the nation's premier event for everything cannabis and hemp is descending on the Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort located right here in Mount Pleasant, Michigan.
What's that, Todd?
420 Canna Expo will feature the industry's most knowledgeable professionals from cultivation, medical, recreational, research, staffing, Canna Tourism, smoke shops, grow shops, merchandisers, glassmakers, and more. Every facet of the industry will be represented on April 20th, 2019 at the Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. For more information on attending, sponsorship, and exhibitor space, log on to 420cannaexpo.com. That's 420cannaexpo.com. And stay tuned to our podcast for more information.
My body started shaking and I can't take no more. Taste your love so sweet, and I just wanna make love to you. Feel your body heat in the still of the night.
Welcome back to the Todd L. Levitt Law Show, broadcasting and podcasting in the middle of the mitten. Happy New Year to everyone out there around planet Earth. We have thousands of people downloading the show each and every week on various podcast platforms. We really appreciate your support. Be sure to tell a friend. Each and every week, we have more and more downloads taking place, and we really appreciate it. So if you like the show, if you enjoy the information and the entertainment, post it on your social media platforms. Let everybody know about the show. We appreciate it, right, Craig?
We do, and you can also hear the show on 98.5 UPS in Central and Northern Michigan, also in Rock 105 and Rock 95.5. We Just Rock in Traverse City and Sheboygan. And as you said, worldwide, podcasting all over the place. Libsyn, SoundCloud. You can hear us on TuneIn. You can hear us on Spotify, iTunes, you name it. If you download it as a podcast, you can hear the Todd L. Levitt Law Show where you are. And special guest in the house, Chris Nani from CannaRev Solutions. Hey, Chris, you know, you said it was.
Hey, Chris.
You said it was.
Hey, how's it going?
You said it was 40 down there in Georgia. It was almost 50 today up here.
Really? Wow.
So
the weather.
man.
Go Bulldogs.
That's right. Go Bulldogs. Georgia played in a bowl game. Are they in a bowl game this year?
Yeah, they're in a bowl game. I think they got cheated. You know, they're number 5, but that's okay.
And that
they should be in the top 4, hands down. I'm with you on that one.
And that other school that you have something
Jake
to do
Fromm's
with,
the
they're playing in a bowl game too, I think, as well.
Ohio State is playing in a bowl game, although it's not against Georgia, so I won't have to compete between those two.
Have they ever,
blue, baby,
have
fire
they,
up chips.
Okay. Have you ever had that conflict before where Georgia's played against Ohio State in a bowl game and you've had to pick?
Can you just stop saying that, Craig? You're driving me crazy.
I
with
can't
this
say I
Ohio
have,
State
just
thing.
because I've been to Ohio State for 3 years now. So,
Okay.
it's a new allegiance.
Yeah, you know, Todd went to Michigan and Michigan State and to Central Michigan, and so he's this is bugging the hell out of him. He hates.
Oh yeah,
this
Michigan
right
all over him. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
Chris
he does.
Nani from CannaRevSolutions.com. That's CannaRevSolutions.com. Chris joined our show a few weeks back. I mean, the response was overwhelming. Chris, tell us about CannaRev Solutions and your partner. What do you guys do?
Sure. So my partner, his name is Greg May, and he's been an attorney for about 30 years. He kind of focuses more on the business side of things, and he brings in his experience to help businesses get formatted, making their deals. And together, we help businesses get their applications in, find processors, and get their product to the shelves at the dispensaries.
You do it all, right?
Yeah, ideally, we do it all. We can help you as much or as little as needed.
Tell us a little bit about that document you created that you shared with me and also some individuals on LinkedIn. That's amazing. And we're going to have you on for an entire show here coming up in January, and we're going to be discussing it. But tease the audience a little bit.
Sure. So just a little bit about it. I created an equation for social equity programs, just kind of ranking them, kind of like a credit score report from 200 to 1,000 points. And my case studies revolved around Sacramento, Oakland, and San Francisco.
That's interesting. I can't wait to hear that show and see more about that. So we're talking about the top 5 stories in cannabis in 2018. We're down to the top 2. Can you guess what number 2 is, Chris?
Ooh, that's going to be a tough one. No. Give me a hint.
I'll give you, it's something that just happened in the last couple of weeks.
I'm going to have to go with the Farm Bill.
That's right.
Yeah, I'd go with the Farm Bill, too.
Hemp legalization in the United States due to the Farm Bill signed by President Trump. That's number 2. And, of course, because it's us, number 1 would be...
the state of Michigan and Prop 1 passing.
That is exactly correct. That is the top weed story for us for 2018 on the Todd L. Levitt Law Show is cannabis now legal in the state of Michigan.
Woohoo!
Oh, yeah,
Happy
that's great.
New Year. Absolutely.
First state in the Midwest as well. So congratulations to y'all.
That's right. To
You
us
say
all.
y'all?
Yeah.
What are you from the South or something? Oh, yeah. Yeah, you are.
We
Yeah,
gotta,
I do.
we're going to introduce Chris to Matt Green, attorney Matt Green from Alabama.
Yes,
we got
we
a
will.
great friend who comes on the show from time to time. Chris, his name is Matt Green. He's down there in Alabama, right?
Yep, Alabama.
And
Yep, Mobile, Alabama.
But he went to LSU. He's just a great lawyer, great guy, former judge. And the two of you could have a conversation, and Craig and I will have no clue what you're talking about.
We do have our own code in the South. It's actually taught in schools.
Yes, it is. It's exactly correct.
That's great. What do you got going on for the new year there, Chris? Any plans, any celebrations?
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to go to Atlanta. So we do something kind of like New York City does with their drop. It's called the Peach Drop. And we have a giant fake peach that drops at the countdown, and we all celebrate.
Is that right?
Peach being the state fruit of Georgia, of course.
Absolutely.
The Georgia peach.
Yep.
So.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a fun time. There's thousands of people that just show up for it.
Well, I'm doing a night ride with Big Hair and the boys. That's what I mean. I talk about it every week on the show. No, I mean literally, my Big Hair and all the boys from Ohio. We're doing a night ride up until midnight with our fatties and our LED lights. That's what we're doing.
I'm sitting on the couch watching a movie and eating shrimp cocktail. That's my New Year's.
Well, you're going to celebrate with me New Year's early with Australia, right?
That's
Craig?
right. That's exactly
Why
correct.
wait till midnight, Chris Nani? Why can't you just celebrate Australia, New Zealand, New Year's, like 12 hours earlier?
I think I'll have to give you a call. Then we're going to have to set it up. We're definitely going to celebrate a little early.
Not everybody wants to start drinking at 7:00 in the morning, Todd. That's when it'll be hitting there is early in the morning on Monday and Tuesday. So
we don't want anybody to drink and drive. We want everyone to have a sober driver.
Yes.
Please keep each other safe. And if you're going to kiss someone at midnight, do it with consent. I'm not trying to be funny here, but a lot of people get offended if you're in a random crowd. I am a defense attorney, and Mr. Nani, you're about to be a licensed attorney. You may just be careful. Don't be grabbing random people and smacking them on the smackers there.
Yeah, absolutely. That is something that is 100% true. I just want to echo that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. Know who you're going to be kissing on New Year's.
Yeah, make sure you got that person lined up.
Yeah, that's
Say,
probably
hey, look, we're going to kiss at midnight. Do I have consent to kiss you at midnight? Well, yes.
Don't do that voice ever again.
That was for my buddy Dave in Cadillac. My buddy David, who listens from Cadillac. Big shout out to David and Cadillac for that. Yes.
Oh my God, Chris Nani from CannaRev Solutions. Thanks for being on. Thanks for being on the show,
Thanks,
man.
guys. I really
We love
appreciate
you, Chris. We'll see you in a couple weeks on the
Love
show.
being on the show. Yeah, it's always
You'll
fun.
be back.
Yep, you will be. Have a good New Year's, Chris.
All right,
We'll
y'all
talk to you.
take care. Have a great New Year's.
All right.
And good luck in Australia.
Yep. Good luck with that peach drop.
Oh man,
I will. Yeah, it'll be a fun time.
Yes, it will. Thank you,
love
Chris.
it.
Have a good one. Hey, Todd, we got to wrap
All
the
right.
show up.
No, Craig, say it isn't so.
It is so. Show's over.
No, don't. We got more to talk about. We got so much more going on.
We got to get going. Show's over.
Hey, it's been a great year, Craig. I just want to thank you and Norm and Mike and Cherie and everyone from Black Diamond Broadcasting, everybody that makes this possible, all of our sponsors of the show. We love you. I mean, please listen to who our sponsors are and get out and buy their products and services because they make it happen.
Yes, thank you. Thank to them and thank to you, Todd, for giving us this platform to talk about this kind of stuff. We really appreciate it. And thanks to Mike and Norm and Sherry and everybody at Black Diamond who allow us to do this every week. And, of course, all of you who listen, because without you, we wouldn't be here as well.
It's going to be an exciting year in 2019, so stay tuned right here in the mothership in the middle of the mitten, the Todd L. Levitt Law Show. Craig, are you going to take us out with something strong today?
You know it. White Snake in the still of the night. Here we go.
I'm not just a litigator. I'm an advocator. Take us out, White Snake. Happy New Year.
Feel your body in the still of the night. Oh yeah. In the still of the night, I will be sneaking round your door. In the still of the night.
The Todd L. Levitt Law Show, brought to you by Chad Mallywell Drilling of Rosebush, Clark Modular Homes, your most experienced and trusted builder in Mount Pleasant, Clear Vision Windows, Siding, Roofing, and Attic Installation of Midland, Mackinac Properties and Northern Michigan Vacation Rentals, buying, selling, and renting properties in the Straits of Mackinac region since 1998, Tim's Collision Plus in Roscommon, Harrison Power Sports, Central Michigan's fastest growing full-line Arctic Cat dealer, and Dr. Robert Townsend and Denali Healthcare for your alternative healthcare needs.
Opinions expressed on this radio program do not necessarily reflect the views of this radio station.